Alright, so guys, I'm here to talk today about Doom Eternal, which is a game I wasn't that big of a fan of. And honestly, I think it's for good reason, in my opinion. I know everyone tries to say, oh, it's literal FPS perfection, it's amazing, it's just great. But I went into the game thinking it was going to be amazing, and I played it a year after it came out, and I was very disappointed. I know some people think it's fantastic, and you can think that all you want, but here are my thoughts regarding the game. I love Doom 2016, and I thought it was fantastic. I mean, Doom isn't really known for story, but at least Doom 2016 had a carrot on a stick. It kind of led you to try to figure out what was going to happen and what was going on, because there's a plot going on, and obviously the robot guy that lets you out was talking to you, wanted something to happen, and you'd come to the planet of Mars with something that already happened and a bunch of people died. And then Olivia Pierce, she was doing something that's trying to get something to happen, which was going to cause mass destruction. And then you were trying to do something for whatever reason, but with that was interesting enough to keep you going and to keep you interested in what was going to happen, what was going to go on while you're playing, what you're going to do to stop it. Very interesting. And the robot guy was badass. His voice was very interesting to hear. It kind of sounded like Shepard from Modern Warfare 2. So I loved Doom 2016. I went into Doom Eternal with high expectations. And I had to wait a year after it because, I don't know, I felt I wasn't that hyped going into it, but I played it expecting to be amazing. I went in there, and one thing I was going to say that's a plus, a positive, is that the visuals are fantastic. The visuals look amazing. I mean, looking at the backgrounds and environments and backdrops, amazing. But the issues I had when I was playing was definitely the pacing, and a lot of that has to do with gameplay. I know one thing is that there's very specific ways to kill specific enemies. And it was too specific because I constantly had to switch in between weapons to get this weapon to kill this enemy, and I got to add this attachment, all while dodging bullets and monsters and not jumping on lava. So constantly having to do that. So there's less freedom of choice when trying to pick which gun you want to use throughout the game. I get they didn't want people just to use a shotgun the entire game, and they wanted people to mix it up, but I feel like I should be able to use other weapons too for specific enemies. You technically can, but it's a good way to get killed. So that was very frustrating. On top of the fact that that all adds up to pacing, because I'm trying to run around and kill enemies, but I constantly have to switch and pause the game to get this weapon for this enemy. And then, oh no, I picked that weapon up, and I need to switch attachments on the fly while I keep running into things. And I'm not a bad player. I played Doom 2016 just fine, barely died at all. And I'm not bad at games. But I kept dying because I kept either falling off when I was trying to switch weapons or just running into a bunch of enemies. And that leads me to point number 2. The first one had a symphony of dancing around with lower tier enemies to fight, and then popping up a big enemy that you have to fight against that you may have to run away from or get more ammo, kill smaller enemies, which is great. But with Doom Eternal, they just throw a bunch of enemies that are huge at you to start, and I kept running into them over and over and over again. And then, like I said, you gotta constantly switch weapons to kill that specific enemy, as 4 other enemies of the different type are trying to attack you at the same time. It just got frustrating. And then the wall climbing crap, I like that they're trying to mix it up, but I don't want to bounce around like Sonic the Hedgehog around on different walls and cliffs, and you gotta refill your boost in between climbs and zooms. I kept dying from that, so I go from one arena to another, just fucking just bored with this because I kept falling to my death on some of them, not all of them, some of them. And I'm like, oh my god, I just want to get to the next section and fight. And lastly, the story. I mean, again, it's not known for the story, but it's just, Earth's under attack. Go and kill demons. Which, whatever, but it didn't interest me to keep going because I'm like, I'm I like killing enemies, but I like killing demons, but I'm killing them for what purpose? To kill them? Like, and then the lore is too bizarre. Some tribal council of demons and these I don't know. It was just very bizarre. The pacing just kind of didn't work for me. It wasn't as enjoyable as the first one. The soundtrack is badass. The graphics are badass. The environments are badass. But some of the gameplay and the pacing issues just really threw me off. I wasn't a fan of that. Again, if you liked it, that was fantastic. That's great. But for me, it just didn't cut it, and it wasn't as good as the first one. So if you stuck through this long, I appreciate it. Hope all of you are doing well, and hopefully find some games that you like. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you.